Hey y'all, it's December the 18th, 2017, and y'all, I want to dedicate this particular video to a girl out there, and she knows who she is, so don't worry about it. But I wanted to make this quick video for everybody, because a while back, you know, just to tell you a little story, I had a friend, and she was going through some tough times. And I didn't know what I could personally do except lend whatever advice that I found appropriate. There's nothing else that I could do for my friend, all right, who's going through some tough times. I lent her some advice and I said, believe it or not, this is what you got to do. You got these things going through your mind, and I know that your mind's racing. A lot of times you can't sleep. A lot of times you're experiencing this and that kind of health problems. Just to be a way of kind of assistance, I gave her some advice in regards to her anxiety and things of this nature. And basically what I told her is that she has to forgive her parents. She has to. And she has to do it in such a way that they hear her. That is important. And that's a very important process that I was trying to explain to her. The reason I was suggesting and prescribing this method of somehow trying to gain more peace is because I've personally done this. And I've felt the results. And it is amazing. It's pretty much a whole new world. The world feels different after you've gone through the process of seeking out your parents. Not going into a closet and secretly doing it because you don't mean it. But seeking out your parents, especially if they are still alive. Seeking them out, and the process goes that, of course, you forgive them. You realize they weren't perfect in raising you. You forgive them, and you tell them that, they let you down, but at the same time, they tried their best, and you know that, and you acknowledge that, and you forgive them. And not only that, you ask for their forgiveness, and of course, that's a piece of the process that a lot of people aren't ready for. And I felt that my friend was ready for that. And I don't know how she feels exactly to the very detail, but the thing is, I'm proud of her for doing that. And I think that she came a long way because I've seen her do it. Right? Sometimes you can't really come in contact with your biological, and it is biological, with your biological parent for whatever reason, but you do need to let them know somehow. You do need to ask for their forgiveness. And it is counterintuitive to a lot of us out there. You don't want to do that. You feel embarrassed by that and ashamed, and you feel like, oh, what do I have to, for them to forgive me? You've done a lot. As a person, a human being, as a child to them, you've done a lot to throw a wrench in their spokes, to really kind of mess them up. I mean, the thing is, you blame them for something that they did not deserve blame for. You wanted them to be perfect, and they weren't. Sometimes people's parents are absolutely not perfect, like outrageous. Sometimes they're perverse. Sometimes they're demented. I understand that. And that's terrible. I can't say that that's necessarily my case necessarily, but sometimes that does happen, and very bad things do happen, and it causes people to become very hesitant on forgiving their parents because maybe their parents done some heinous things. Maybe their parents did some unthinkable things. Unfortunately, the process is the same for everybody. You do need to forgive your parents, and I don't mean step parents. I mean biological parents. It is a must. Alright? I'm telling you from experience that it is a must. And once you do it, once you feel it in your heart, because once you get in front of a person in such a way, in such an intimate way, you have no choice but to be genuine about your words. Mind you, you could write it in a secret letter, crumple up that piece of paper, throw it in the garbage, and say, oh yeah, I forgave my parents and asked for their forgiveness. No, not really. You didn't, because you need to let it be known. That's very important. And how it works after one's parents are dead and gone, I'm not too sure. It would complicate the situation, I'm sure. All right. But my advice to her and to everybody else out there is, if you feel anxiety, maybe if you feel depression coming on and stuff all the time, you have this and that, social disorders or whatever like this, what I would prescribe to you is to go ahead and forgive your parents. Go ahead and ask them for their forgiveness. You might not completely understand the change that it will make, but it will make an enormous change that will become abundantly clear in time. All right? It'll make a huge change in you. You'll feel so much more peaceful. Because in forgiving your parents, basically, you're letting God forgive you. And I know a lot of people don't believe in God. It doesn't matter. You'll still feel the peace. You'll still feel the contentment. And the reason that I make this follow-up video, because I made a video a long time ago detailing this, is that I've been seeing this around a lot lately. I don't know if y'all have been too. That is a secret. Our schools and our televisions and everything else trying to convince us of lies. However, that's a secret that a lot of people are uncovering. A lot of people are uncovering it because we're balls deep up in social disorders, you understand? There's all sort of anxiety going through people and their minds and stuff, and lots of times they resort to SSRIs and things of this nature. All right? They don't have to. They're being lied to purposefully. All right, take that however you want it. They don't have to, because they will leave a lot of their anxiety if they completely are willing to understand what is forgiveness, what is the power of forgiveness. The fact is, you've been carrying all sort of anger for your parents. I know, because I've done so as well. And it won't get you anywhere. In fact, what it'll do is it'll have you blaming your parents for everything, and blaming everybody else for that matter. Maybe blaming white folks in general for all your problems. That's what it's going to do. And you're never going to have peace. Unfortunately, that's just the long and short of it. That's just keeping it simple. All right. But like I said, I've been seeing it all around, and I think that if you haven't been seeing it around, you're going to start seeing it around much more these days, because it is a powerful secret. It is a secret that these churches out here don't want you to know, these bullshit churches, and these schools, obviously, they don't want you to know, because they're not teaching it. The television ain't teaching it, all sort of things ain't teaching it to you. All you need to do is forgive your parents. Now, of course, that doesn't mean that you submit to your parents necessarily. Of course, if you have parents who are goblins and ghouls and filled with all sort of demons, you need to separate yourself from them, because that isn't good. But you also need to ask for their forgiveness, because it'll set you free. Even if you don't feel it immediately, you're going to feel all sort of weight come up off of you. And I've been seeing it everywhere. I mean, I saw it the other day on Dr. Phil. Dr. Phil, first of all, I just shout out to Dr. Phil, because all the people on television, there's only a couple that I actually respect. You know, because it's hard to tell with them. But Dr. Phil, he be spitting some hot fire a lot of the times. A lot of times Dr. Phil be talking about stupid stuff, and I assume that's for ratings. But Dr. Phil, he do be spitting that hot fire, and he's been saying, you know what, you need to forgive your parents. There is power in that, because you allow God to forgive you, and then God will instill in you all sort of power. Not only just power, but just peace, just contentment, success in your life, all sort of untold success. There's Dr. Phil. I saw it on an Adam Sandler movie. I don't remember the name, but I saw it recently. It was with Adam Sandler. It was with Dustin Hoffman. It was a pretty quirky movie about, you know, people who are kind of narcissists, and thing is, I'm very familiar with that behavior. And so the movie is kind of funny. It was a recent Adam Sandler movie with Dustin Hoffman, who's an alleged pervert. Maybe, I don't know, but that's alleged. He's not guilty yet. Adam Sandler, he was in that movie, and basically Dustin Hoffman was his father. And at the end, Adam Sandler, just to ruin it for you, I guess, Adam Sandler, he forgives Dustin Hoffman, his father, and he finds all sort of peace because he not only forgives him, but he asks for Dustin Hoffman's forgiveness, right? And it's a quirky little movie, and it's very deep because Adam Sandler, this character, he gets the idea from a hospital where the hospital advises, the people at the hospital advise, if your loved one is about to die, and they probably will because you're in a hospital, what you need to do is, you say these particular words, and that'll put you at peace. And basically, is you go to your loved one, probably your parent who's dying, and you say, something like, "I'm sorry, please forgive me, I love you, goodbye." And that's it. And it seems silly when the hospital advises because it's really just a few phrases. And that's it. They say, if your loved one's dying, you say these phrases, and that's it. Right? And it seems silly, but Adam Sandler, he hears it, he takes it to heart. And later on, when he has to separate himself from his father, he had to separate himself to gain success and peace. Because his father was kind of narcissistic and holding him down, basically. And so he had to run away to California to be his own man, to start a new life. And he needed the peace and contentment that it takes to start a new life. And therefore, he said those words to Dustin Hoffman, and he gained all sort of peace and contentment. I'm seeing this all around, is what I'm just trying to tell you. All right? A lot of people are unlocking this secret. It's not something that I invented or anything. I might have been the first person you heard it from, but it's been a lot of people saying this. A lot of people, and you gotta understand, the anxiety, the social disorders, the SSRI drugs are merely exploding. They're only becoming more exponential as time goes on. You have to understand, there's no way to stop the drugs, right? But there is a process by which that we can take as individuals, and we can tell children about, in which that they won't need to pop these pills any longer, right? Because we're all stupid in a tribulation, but the thing is, we could have all sort of success together if we just communicate and we learn from each other. And I appreciate y'all out there, and I think y'all know that. It's December the 18th, 2017, and I'll holler at you.